Wagon here, and today I wanted to talk to you about some of the planning, prep, and work that went into getting ready for Across Andes. I personally love to plan for travel, and I convinced one of my older brothers to join me in a week before the race to do some course recon and just actually do a little pre-race vacation. I'm really excited about it. I spent the last week combing through Airbnb and Booking.com to find different places that we're going to stay along the lower part of the route. And I found a little tiny house with a jacuzzi that's outside overlooking a volcano, so I'm pretty excited about that. Just getting to the race start is going to be a challenge. I've got to drive 3 hours to the airport in DC, and then I have to fly to Santiago, and then from Santiago I have to fly to Tumico, which is the closest airport to the race start, and then it's an hour drive from that airport to the race start. So it's a lot. Hey. Hello. This is Calvin. Say hello, Calvin. Hi. Hi. The race requires a number of things. One of those things is extradition services, which basically means that they will come extradite you if you have an emergency. Global Rescue, which I believe is a US-based company, has that for purchase. I believe you can do 7, 14, 21-day plans. I chose the 7-day plan and it was $165. Howdy friends, I am in the car on the way to Bluestone Bike and Run, which is a bike shop in Harrisonburg, Virginia, where I'm going to get some TLC done on my 3T Ultra. I just want to make sure everything is running smoothly, all the bolts are torqued, and everything is good before I do a really long bike ride in another country. I learned something new at every race I go to. I saw somebody with this nifty little CO2 holder that goes under your bottle cage. No longer do you have to keep the CO2 jangling around in your bags. You can put it on the outside, and it's actually really sturdy. I did test it before deciding I was going to race with it. Most races require that you provide race experience. When I signed up for Badlands, I did not have to provide any previous race experience, but for Across Andes, I do have to provide that, which is great because I have a few ultra races under my belt at this point now. Across Andes requires some other paperwork, including an affidavit that you won't steal their spot tracker and that you're in good health. You also have to provide an up-to-date physical, which is not needed if you have previously participated in an ultra this calendar year. I know this seems like a daunting process, but in the long run, it's actually not that hard. It's just a little bit of paperwork that you have to do. It's essentially to make sure that you can in fact do their race, and I'm sure it has something to do with insurance. I am continually learning when it comes to ultra racing, and one of the things that I learned in Spain for Badlands was that I needed to know the route and the resupply locations a lot better than I actually did. The frequency and quality of resupply locations can vary widely based on the race organizer, the customs of the local place that you're racing in, and the actual location and how remote it is in the area you're racing. In the US, we see a lot of gas station, convenience store resupply locations. Oftentimes you can find a Subway. In other countries though, a lot of times their customs are much different. What I learned in Spain is that most of the time in a small town, they don't have a convenience store. They have a bar, and so when you go to the bar, you need to know what to order. And when I was in Spain, I didn't know what to order. Hence the reason why I'm going to Chile for a week and a half before the race starts, so I can check out the course, I can check on the resupply locations, and I'll know exactly what I want to get when I arrive during the race because I've already done the hard work and I already know what I'm looking for. It's important to study the map, and for me, I like to actually pen to paper the information that I learned from the map, including where the resupply locations are, distance between resupply locations, where the big climbs are, what the elevation gain of those climbs are, and where the finish mileage and start mileage is of those climbs. Typically, I'll write that out on a piece of paper, and then I'll actually print it out, keep it in my brevet card book with my passport information And lastly, I will shorthand the information I mentioned earlier into a screenshot, iPhone size portrait, so that I can keep it as my background screen, so I can briefly look at my phone and know when the next resupply is if I can't remember because I'm tired and fatigued and I haven't slept in 2 days. Normally, I like to be surprised by the route, but with ultra racing, it's actually kind of bad to be surprised, because if for some reason you're gonna go 90 miles and there's no resupply and no water, you're SOL. So knowing the map, knowing the resupply locations, and just really understanding the route is very important when traveling to a race in another country, or just in general. It's really good to be organized. I found when I went to Spain that I was overwhelmed because I put all of my items into one bag, and then I had to repack my bike when I got there, and I had not as much time as I'd like. So this time I'm going to put all of the items that I am putting in my saddlebag in one reusable, compostable Velocio clothing bag, and I will write the name of what the Apidura bag is that I'm putting it in. And I'm gonna do that for all of the bags on my bike, as well as all of the extra parts that I'm bringing. And that way I can be really organized and know exactly where each thing is. I also have a really detailed spreadsheet where I say what goes in each bag, and then what exactly items I'm bringing bike-wise, clothing-wise, and food-wise, so I don't forget anything. There's nothing like going to another country and realizing that you forgot something you definitely cannot get in that country. Technically, the last thing I need to do before I jet set is pack my bike. These are the majority of the things that I had to do to get ready for an ultra race in another country. Although there are plenty of things that I probably didn't mention, and if you have questions, feel free to ask them down in the comments. I'm happy to share any of the information that I have experienced, because I think it's important for others who are interested in racing to know what's out there, what you have to do, and what are the steps to get to an ultra race. Oh, time to go to Chile.